like doing news like this, but I'm gonna have to do it, man. Let me give you all a little disclaimer and let y'all know what's going on before we even get started with the video. I usually try to add a funny context to videos, but it ain't happening on this one. I might not even put the oh my god that I do. Y'all see what's going on the screen. If you haven't heard about the news, I'm about to give you all of the news. I'm making this video to spread some love to Louisiana, all of the victims, people involved, the neighbors. I'm spreading love to Louisiana on this video because y'all need it. We all need it. This is devastating. I can't believe this really happened, but it did. What can make somebody this mad? The devil is definitely working. So if the live streams start messing up, it ain't got nothing to do with my equipment. We need to pray, come together, hold hands, and figure out what we can do to prevent stuff like this from ever happening again. Let's get into this news.
The gray house is the house in which 7 children were located inside that were deceased. There was an additional deceased child that looked like he had tried to escape the residence out the back on the roof. We want to thank LSP for coming in and helping because this is a large operation. We have 3 crime scenes just here in Shreveport. One of them is incredibly gruesome in nature, and it's going to take several hours to process. I know that some of the suspect's children resided there. I'm not sure if at one point in time he lived there. We're working to put all of that together right now because between the house on Harrison Street and these residences here, we know he had ties to both residences, whether that was romantic relationships or kin. We're working to put all.
Hold on, wait. He went to 2 different houses and did what he did. So he had the time to think it over before he acted. Was the child support kicking his ass? Why would somebody do something like this, man?
So the house behind us is where we had a very significant and catastrophic event this morning. Is where 8 children were killed this morning. They range in ages from about 18 months to about 12 years of age. Our officers responded, located the 8 individuals, the children that were dead, and they tried to provide aid where they could, but ultimately were unable to save any of them. There was a child that jumped off the roof. We were able to get him to a hospital, and he is expected to survive.
Oh,
There's
no.
also 2 adult females that were injured during this mass shooting. They are both in critical condition. We are hopeful that they will survive. One is significantly more critical than the other. So the suspect shot the mother of the children first, then responded to this location and shot 8 children, 7 of which being his own. There was an additional child at this residence that was not akin to him. After doing this shooting, carjacked a vehicle just down the road at West 79th and Linwood. And ultimately, our officers were forced to neutralize the suspect.
You see lots of people on the street here that are gathering for prayer and mutual support, and that's what communities need to do in this circumstance. It lets you know that evil still exists in the world. We need to be fighting everything we can to overcome that evil with good, to shed light in the darkness.
That's a fact. That's what we all need to be doing. And for the people out there watching, and you got a beef with your parents, your mom and your dad, you ain't talked to your pops in a couple of years, let that shit go. Let it go, man. It's always somebody out there with a worse situation than yours. You in puppy water, crying, kicking and screaming. It ain't even that deep. Rest in peace to these kids. He was pissed. This sound premeditated. He waited till a Sunday when he knew they would be home. He couldn't have ran over there on the school day and did nothing like this. He would have had to wait for the buses. He made sure that they was there and went on a complete rampage. And I'm pretty sure if you ask him questions or why he did it, he tried to put some logic to it, but there's no logic you could possibly put to nothing like this. Nobody's on your side, bro. That's not how you handle situations. Look at this.
East of North Texas into Louisiana. Police saying they responded to 3 early morning shootings at 3 different homes in a single neighborhood. They believe one gunman is responsible for it all. The houses in particular, officers say they found 10 people shot in these homes. 8 of those 10 died. Again, all of them children. The victims' ages from 1 year of age to the age of 14. 2 adult women also hospitalized in all of this. The identities of these victims have not been released, but we are told they all knew each other, and many were also related, family members, including children of the accused gunman. This being classified now as a domestic violence act, something officials say they have worked hard to fight in that community.
Over 30% of our crimes and 30% of our murders in the city of Shreveport are domestic in relation. Now that number has gone up. We've more than doubled our homicides in the city of Shreveport because of one act of domestic violence. We can have 100 new police cars. We can have a brand new, beautiful, multi-million-dollar police substation right up the road. But until we stop this violence, the cycle of violence, like I've said over and over again, we're going to still be standing here, and it's only going to get worse.
I don't know what people think in the crevices of their mind to want to harm another human being, let alone that.
Oh man, I gotta take a little break, y'all. This is fucking kicking my ass, man. I don't like this. This ain't ordinary Doc's Daily stuff right here, man. But we gotta start getting into the real, because there's a lot of real stuff going on in the world. And I'm over here thinking 50 Cent gonna have to pay for the funeral or something. Something got to give. Boosie need to go back to his hometown to help out, do some free concerts or whatever the case is. But this is what I was thinking, and I want y'all to feel me on this, and I want y'all to take me seriously on this. It seems like when it get really hot outside, people want to get that summer popping. People want to contribute to the madness. The vice in the city is crazy when it get hot outside. He waited. He had all winter to act up, but he didn't want to do that. He had all year to act a plum fool, but he waited until some of the summer days to act a complete ass. And I'm starting to see that that's a pattern all across the world. I see car accidents happening, avoidable accidents. People getting out there just acting dumb for the sake of acting dumb. So yeah, this is a major problem in the world. This is a major problem in our society. And it seemed like this is just the beginning. We ain't even got to May, June, July. So just imagine the foolishness that's going to come down the pipeline. They say it's something in the water. No, it might be something in the weather. But either way, there's nothing we could do to bring these kids back. But one thing we could all do, all the people watching, all the people that clicked on the video to get the information, we're about to get deeper into the information. But as we do, I want y'all to take some time. It ain't got to be right now, but sometime tonight or when you got some free time, and pray for these people, pray for their families, because we always talking about generational curses, but we don't know where the curses begin with our families. You dealing with generational curses and you don't even know where it started. It could have been 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago. You don't have a clue. But for this family, this is a curse that they gonna be dealing with. I don't know how many generations or who gonna break it, because this is a tragedy. Look at this, y'all.
Children who have their whole life ahead of them. And I'm asking you to please utilize every resource that the sheriff has brought forth now when you know that these situations occur. We cannot be and make this a joke. This is not a freaking joke. This is real. And this is the result when someone snaps.
That suspected shooter also dead tonight, shot by police after they say he tried to flee that scene and led them on a brief chase.
He probably, they killed his ass, and I know why they did it. Because I would have lost my shit too. You show up to work, ain't no telling what the police got going on, and this fool out here done slaughter all of his kids. Them police officers just got done spending time with their kids. They wish they was home so they could play daddy with their kids. And this man done executed all of his damn kids. I ain't trying to be funny when I say they need to bring the Maury Show back. Where the Maury Show? This will prevent a lot of stuff like this from happening. And I pretty much got a clue of why he probably acted a plumb fool like that. He should have got there's no excuses for none of this stuff, but when you speak about ghetto dynamics, you could slice up that sandwich a million different ways. But that's Negro here nor there. Let's get into some more of this news, y'all. Here we go.
We're standing in this place again. There are 8 children that are deceased. I can't be strong for you. I think about the mother and what this family has lost. I think about this community and what this community has lost. And I don't have the words to give you, and I'm sorry. I don't know what people think in the crevices of their mind to want to harm another human being, let alone that of children who have their whole life ahead of them. From what I've learned about this incident is that it's domestic in nature that makes it even more horrific for all the fighting that we do as it relates to this. And maybe you can stand strong with this, but I can't without shedding tears of traumatic pain.
You know, there's a lot of stuff that's boiling over in our society that people just play along to get along with. It's a lot of, like I said about the ghetto dynamics, there's way too many of them to name, but it's become the norm. And people bring kids into the world and they don't have themselves all the way together. You got to pull some type of fixing on yourself. And people in New Orleans, I'm pretty sure a lot of them get the picture. Self-work is the best work. But whatever work was done to this man, he was tied up in a cluster muck to even have 7 kids in the first place. He definitely wasn't living right. But it's a lot of families and a lot of men out there that take pride in having a bunch of baby mamas and having a bunch of kids. A lot of people look at that as being fruitful or whatever the case is. But the times that we living in, you know, you're going to have to be fruitful in other type of ways. People be proud to be broke because they rich and family. That's a Afro-American custom, and it's understandable. You got a lot of family, you got a lot of love. That's worth more than money, especially when you got people to rely on. Family is wealth. It was wealth. Now family could be your biggest burden, depending on how your situation is set up. And for him, he felt every last bit of that sting. Something was in his heart to where he couldn't take another day of it. He was insane. And I don't know what drove him to that point, but I got a feeling that he won't be the last, because there's copycats with every damn thing. There's people out here wearing ugly Jordans because they seen one of their favorite celebrities or their classmate or somebody had them. It's gonna be copycats. It's gonna be men out there thinking about their situation and how their baby mama played them, don't know if the kids his had lost his job because they came up there asking about the kids, get the child support check, work all week, don't bring home no money. People feeling like life is over, they worthless. Look at this, man. I can't even take it no more. Look.
I pain and I grieve for this family. I grieve for the lives that are lost, and I'm asking you to please utilize every resource that the sheriff has brought forth now when you know that these situations occur. We cannot be and make this a joke. This is not a freaking joke. This is real, and this is the result when someone snaps. So I'm gonna ask the community, along with prayer, with every mental health consultant, counselor that is out here. This family and this community needs you. I need you. Because how do we get through this? How do we get to the next level? It is real and this is raw. And these are the tragedies when there are domestic violence or domestic disturbances in our community.
Man, yo, I'm feeling everything that she said. But a part of me also feel like the damage is already done. It's too late to try to save anybody. You just gotta leave it in God's hands at this point. Because now one person can't save the world. I mean, it's all right to put forth the effort, and I'm not saying just give up on the situation completely, but the damage is already done. The kids is gone, and we gonna have to live with the aftermath. The power of forgiveness is all we really got when it comes to dealing with people. Anything besides that is murder, hatred, grief, a whole bunch of things that's not going to bring you any good. The only thing that could possibly bring you good when it comes to dealing with other people is the power of forgiveness. I don't give a damn what happened. You're going to save yourself a lot more trouble just forgiving. So if he had to live the rest of his life supporting them 8 kids that he made, a decision that he made as a man, you figure, hell, if you man enough to do the crime, you should be man enough to do the time. And his prison was them damn kids. But instead of him taking on his responsibilities, he did the ultimate sucker move. If you thought your dad was a sucker, or you felt like your dad is weak or your dad is lame, your dad is a hero compared to this man. For all the people out there that feel a way about their pops, now you think he's just the worst person in the world. He might be bad, but there's always somebody worse. So this is a time for you to get some redemption for your family and your situation, for the people out there listening. And unfortunately, you got to make this count for something. We talking 7 kids here. Make it count for something, man. And make it count for you and your situation. For all the single mothers out there that hate your baby daddy guts. Y'all had some words back and forth. He probably even put his hands on you or whatever the case is. And I ain't saying that's right. But hell, it could be worse. Anything could be worse. But this is pretty bad. Look at this.
We begin with breaking news first at 6:30. 8 children are dead after a domestic mass shooting in Shreveport, Louisiana. The suspected shooter also dead after being shot by police. Investigators with the Shreveport Police Department believe some of the victims are related to the suspect. The ages of those victims range in age from 1 to around 14 years old. This shooting happened at multiple homes, including 2 on the same block. Local officials are calling for change after this devastating tragedy.
We as a community, black, white, Republican, Democrat, need to stand together and fight for what is right. This is nothing but pure evil.
We cannot be and make this a joke. This is not a freaking joke. This is...
Okay. All right. I understand the councilwoman Taylor of District A. So these people well aware of the bullshit that goes on in their community. You got the mobile command center. Mobile command center. I hope they ain't sending out no subliminal messages to people. Fucking with people's psychology. What type of Tuskegee experiment they got going on in Louisiana? Seem like they trying to work out some kinks. A mobile command center. You better cut off your phone, hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. They playing games. I don't know how much shit I bought off of Amazon that I don't need. I don't know how many dinners, pizzas I ate that I didn't want to eat. Honey buns and shit. A mobile command center. I'm starting to think a lot of people be under mind control, and they just waiting for it to boil up, because the crimes that's going on in the world today really don't make any sense. I've been doing Docs Daily for 10 years, a whole decade, longer than a lot of y'all been alive, toddlers. And this ain't making no sense to me. It never made no sense, and it's getting worse by the day. Look at this.
It's a tragic situation. It not only affects the City Grove community, it affects our entire city. To have something like this occur. It's not a time to point fingers or try to blame anyone. The blame is on the person that did it. But I do want to use this opportunity to speak for this community, many of whom were out here today and just grief-stricken by this whole situation.
Tragedy in Louisiana. 8 children were shot and killed, others left wounded in the nation's deadliest shooting in more than 2 years. The scene of the unthinkable crime being described as unlike anything most of the police force had ever seen. The victims of the shooting ranging in age from just 1 to 12 years old. 7 of the children were related to the suspected gunman, who is now identified as Shamar Elkins. The New York Post reporting that he shared a picture of him with his kids at church on Facebook just 2 weeks prior, over Easter. For more, we are joined by Taylor Smith from our News Nation affiliate in Louisiana. Taylor, what's the latest?
That's right. Good evening. Its devastation has absolutely rocked this community. As you can see, this is the aftermath. The tape has gone down. Investigators, police have now gone home, but there is still much heartbreak felt in this area. From what we see right now, people have been bringing in flowers and balloons to pay their respects to the victims. Police say they have now identified the gunman as Shamar Elkin, and they say that this tragedy appeared to have unfolded inside of the family home. They say that 8 children were killed, 7 of them believed to be Elkin's own. Investigators say many of the victims appear to have been asleep when the shooting began early Sunday morning. They say that 7 victims were found inside of the residence, while an 8th child was discovered outside near the back of the home on the roof, suffering a gunshot wound to the head.
Oh, no.
Officers say
What?
that the first call for help came just before 5.
Hell no, man. Oh, no. Yo, for the child that survived, they need to, man, put some in the stocks or something. Do a GoFundMe. He need, but money ain't gone. Man, I'm praying for the whole family, especially that young man right there, because now he got to live through. Unfortunately, you know, his siblings, they all gone, but it's a possibility he gonna suffer the most. He got away on the roof with a gunshot wound to the head. Oh my God, man. I thought my shit was bad. Lord have mercy. We all need to be grateful, y'all. For the people in the chat, y'all need to be grateful. Y'all need to be counting y'all blessings and saying y'all prayers, because you ain't never went through nothing like this. And then we talking about from ages 1 to 14, and we don't know how old this young man is. So Lord have mercy, man. I need to hear that again.
While an 8th child was discovered, Shamar Elkin, and they say that this tragedy appeared to have unfolded inside of the family home. They say that 8 children were killed, 7 of them believed to be Elkin's own. Investigators say many of the victims appear to have been asleep when the shooting began early Sunday morning. They say that 7 victims were found inside of the residence, while an 8th child was discovered outside near the back of the home on the roof, suffering a gunshot wound to the head. Officers say that the first call for help came just before 5 a.m., and throughout the morning, investigators were seen blocking off the neighborhood while officers and detectives worked through what police are describing as a very large and complex crime scene. They say that the children's ages range from 1 to 14, very young. 2 adult women were also shot multiple times and remain in critical condition in the hospital. They say that one of those victims is believed to be the suspect's wife, and while the relationship between the suspect and the second woman have not yet been confirmed, they are working to get that information. For what now we know that police say the suspect fled the scene in a stolen vehicle, leading officers on a pursuit into Bossier Parish And during that pursuit, officers discharged their weapons, and the suspect was ultimately fatally shot. They say that this shooting spanned multiple areas from the home, and at one point, people inside attempted to escape by climbing onto the roof. Authorities say that the names of the victims have not yet been released at this time, and they're still waiting to notify the families. They also say that they are working to process evidence, and they are working to piece together what took place and what led up to this devastating crime. We will continue to keep you updated. Investigators are saying that police believe that Elkins was the only person who fired shots. At this point, the motive does remain still unclear. We will continue to keep you.
Hey, she's good. And the news is bad, but the way she covered the news, she good at what she do. Cause this got me feeling like I'm watching a true crime story. I don't know if it's she narrated it like a damn pro. It's unfortunate what happened and everything. But man, I gotta listen to her take one more time. I do apologize, y'all. And I hope y'all enjoying this and taking this in. And I'm not saying enjoying it like you laughing and having a good time or this is good entertainment. But you have to think of it like this. Now is the opportunity to change your life for the rest of your life. If it's anything to celebrate, change is what you could be celebrating right now. Because when you hear stories like this, you can internalize this in a positive way and look at your family and look at your situation and be grateful for everything you got going on. You probably don't have good relationships with people in your family, but just knowing that they all right should be good enough. Or knowing that you didn't cause somebody no harm, even though if you felt like you should have did it, you didn't do it. So that's what make you a better person. You know, ain't nothing wrong with turning the other cheek. People live their whole lives regretting the moment where they decided to be the bigger person. The moment that made them feel like they was soft because they decided that they didn't want to go that route because they didn't want to crash out. There's a lot of men out there talking about, I won't back down, I won't never, I ain't going, I ain't this, I ain't that. And your ass wind up on the news because you had a moment or whatever. So for all them times where you took the high road and you beat yourself up about it, and you up all night think about what you woulda, shoulda, coulda did, you did the right thing. And you know that now. Because this man could have definitely took the high road. He could have fled, he could have went to Mexico, and then he could have been a Rolling Stone, and they would have been mad, but at least they were still alive. And for the people out there that know your mama crazy, know your mama can't keep a man, but then you want to blame your dad for not being around or not making it work with your mama. A lot of times these men be the bigger person by just leaving it alone. It ain't the best option, but hey, it's better than taking somebody's life or harming somebody. There's levels to this, man. So when I say that, like I said, it ain't meant to be enjoyed like entertainment. But this is your opportunity to do some great things with your life. Okay, let's get back into this. I gotta hear this again because it's beyond crazy. Listen.
Complex crime scene. They say that the children's ages range from 1 to 14, very young. 2 adult women were also shot multiple times and remain in critical condition in the hospital. They say that one of those victims is believed to be the suspect's wife, and while the relationship between the suspect and the second woman have not yet been confirmed, they are working to get that information. For what now, we know that police say the suspect fled the scene in a stolen vehicle, leading officers on a pursuit into Bossier Parish, and during that pursuit, officers discharged their weapons, and the suspect was ultimately fatally shot. They say that this shooting spanned multiple areas from the home, and at one point, people inside attempted to escape by climbing onto the roof. Authorities say that the names of the victims have not yet been released at this time, and they're still waiting to notify the families. They also say that they are working to process evidence, and they are working to piece together what took.
They're investigating. Know that part. They going through cell phone records, Google searches, text messages. Even if them things got deleted, they know how to retrieve them. They know what was said between what party, what the wife said, what the baby mama said about the kids. They get into the bottom of what the problem really is. The public, we still in shock. We still devastated. We can't believe that somebody would act like this. But their job is to get a clear understanding of what the hell happened. And the details may be too shocking for the public. They not about to get messy with it. You can't expect the police department to be like Tasha K and spill all the wine in the public. But there's a lot of wine. It's some, you probably would, and I ain't trying to take the man's side, but seeing what he did, this ain't just happened overnight. It reached a boiling point to where he said his life, not only his life, he said, forget life itself. He feel like it's something so evil and so vile going on to where he got to do some justice by putting an end to it. There was something that he found out about his situation. It's something that when he found it out, it drove him insane. Like they say, what you don't know won't hurt you. That is true. And a lot of times you don't need to know some shit. While y'all out there investigating, wondering, thinking maybe what if, where was she Saturday when she said she was with her homegirls? Where was she really at? What did she really do? You driving yourself. You don't want to know. You don't need to know. Save your sanity. Go get an ice cream. Cool it with your boys. Go play some ball. You don't need to know everything. Because if you did, you might not be able to hold on to your marbles. What they say, the truth is stranger than fiction. They ain't never lied about that. Because a lot of times, people can't handle the truth. So whatever revelation came about in his situation, it was ungodly, especially when a situation like this transpired. Oh, Lord have mercy. We got more news to get into. I need y'all to stay tuned. Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button too. Without further ado, we got to get into this news right now. Come on.
Welcome back into Live Now from Fox. I'm Ryan Schmelz. I know we were going to get to that event with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the President of Argentina, but we do have now an update from the Shreveport, Louisiana Police Department on that mass shooting that led to 8 people so far being dead. We're going to go ahead and play that out for you right now. It's about a 7 to 8 minute long update from the police department. We do apologize ahead of time. The audio is not that great, but this is one of the first updates they gave us. So let's go ahead and listen into that.
Good morning. We're going to give some initial information what we have, and I want to start with, this is all preliminary information. This is a very large scene with 4 specific locations that we are currently addressing events from early this morning. This morning, officers responded to a shooting that occurred just after 6 a.m. In doing so, we've determined that this was a domestic call in nature. The responding officers located a crime scene here in the 300 block of West 79th Street, and this is a rather extensive crime scene spanning between 2 residences here. There is also another residence on Harrison Street that is part of this crime scene as well. Right now, we have at least 10 individuals that were struck by gunfire last night.
Okay, this country, y'all, what's happening here? This a country living situation to where you got 2 families or 2 situations in a 5-mile radius or whatever the case is. So when he riding out, the scenery of his environments is late night bus downs or whatever the case. He's surrounded by where he get cheeks and got kids. He got litters and stuff all over. That's a terrible, probably can't afford to leave. Everybody know who he is. When his car come down the street, they sucking their teeth. He got everybody. Damn. It is what it is at this point. You know, he's out of here. He's gone. I got a feeling people gonna sensationalize this. There's a lot of men out there hurting. Now they got a reason, and it's gonna get crazy out here. I'm waiting to see what Finesse 2 Times got to say about this, cause that brother, he the next Charleston White or whatever, and people listen to what he say and respect what he got to say. I'm looking to see what Charleston White got to say about this situation, because the culture is fucked. And people will hear something like this and sympathize with the man. Men and women to do it. It could be a flat out murder, kids involved in everything, and people will find a reason to sympathize with the killer. We seen that with Kevin Samuels. When he died, people were sympathizing and saying, hey, he shouldn't have did this, he shouldn't have did that. A whole bunch of sensitive situations and topics to where people feel like, hell, that's what they get. No regard for human life whatsoever. So, yeah, that's where we at with it. There has to be a level of comfort for people to behave the way that they behave with the whole slut culture. They got restaurants, slutty vegans, people taking their kids to get slut burgers. And you can't tell them it ain't right, because they'll argue you up and down about the rights of a slut, and they'll justify the sluttage. We living in some inhumane times, man, and it's only getting worse. So for this man, he might be an American legend to some people out there. There's people out there willing to champion his name and say, hey, he did something that a lot of men want to do. Well, I contemplated the thought myself a couple of times. There's people out there sympathizing. So there's really no point in trying to, preach a good word about justice and morality. We live in some immoral times. I'm just waiting to see how normal this is going to become. And I got a feeling that it's going to become so normal to where it's going to be as if this man never committed a crime at all. But that's Negro here, no doubt. Let's get back to this.
In a domestic disturbance, 8 of these individuals are deceased. The ranges of the decedents are from 1 year of age to approximately 14 years of age. All of the deceased in this case are juvenile.
Matter of fact, wait a minute. I got to make my point. I'm sorry, y'all. I got to make my point real quick. Let's do this. Yeah, pull my shit up. Briefly, let's talk about this real quick. Astro World. It said the deaths of 10 people at Houston concert ruled as accidental. We seen the footage of the man on stage, high out of his mind, conducting the mayhem. We seen him encouraging the carnage on stage. But somehow, some way, he still has a career. People still listen to his music. And it was, man, I'm trying to tell you, when this happened, it was devastating. People couldn't believe their eyes. People witnessed the evil. The same way with this case. And unfortunately, these 7 beautiful children and the 8th one shot and everything. The same pain that people feel here, a lot of people all across the world felt that same pain with Astro World. But somehow, some way, miraculously, people don't give a damn anymore. And you can't even get nobody to really talk about this. I seen this man recently at the Super Bowl with Cardi B. They drinking, hanging out, him, Quavo, the whole gang back together. Like ain't a damn thing happened. And you figure something so tragic like that take place in the way he was behaving in the middle of the madness, he wouldn't even be allowed, or people wouldn't even want to stand next to that man. But since the Astro World, he been the coolest thing ever. It gave him juice. It made him more cooler for the fact that people died at his concert. So what we gonna do with this? People mad about the kids and everything now, but unfortunately, by next week, we gonna see how many people still feel pressed about all of this.
Individual responsible, once leaving this scene, performed a carjacking right here in close proximity to the corner of West 79th and Linwood, at which point in time, Shreveport Police patrol officers got behind that vehicle and a chase ensued. The vehicle was chased into Bossier Parish, and at which point in time, Shreveport Police officers did discharge their firearm, and that individual is deceased. We do believe him to be the only individual that fired gunshots at these locations here. He is deceased, and Louisiana State Police will be taking over that portion in which the Shreveport police officers discharged their firearms. So we don't have any more information on the shooting that occurred in Bossier. What we can tell you is this is a domestic disturbance here in the 300 block of West 79th Street. This is a very large scene with multiple deceased children present, and so we're going to ask for your patience in us getting information out. We will release the name of the suspect that is deceased when we have made the proper notifications. We do know that some of the children inside were his descendants, so once we are sure of everyone's names and ages and the proper channels have been notified.
Okay, now there's an opportunity for some devils to settle into this community even further than it already is. There's a dark cloud over this community because the minds of the people are overacting. You, wherever you are, Gage Gore, you in Utah somewhere. For the rest of the people watching, we got people in California, and this resonating with you in Cali. You're thousands of miles away from Louisiana. Got people watching from New York, people all across the world, different languages, reading it in subtitles. They got to translate it to see what's going on here. And people still feel and understand that this is something extremely wicked that took place in Louisiana. But you have to factor in the next door neighbors, the people that live right next door. When they go to work and they turn down their street and they getting closer to home and they got to pull into the driveway in that eerie ass house where the boy was on the roof. That eerie ass street when the sun go down around that mug and they have to live there. For the people that live behind the house on the other street, when they look out their window and they see that house and it don't bend, and they gotta live with that, internalize that. And they got kids. They got baby daddies or whatever the case is. Everybody's on edge. There's people out there that been going back and forth with their significant other bickering. Now they looking at each other. How crazy. The demon is out there, man. It's impressed in their minds. And you never know who's going to be the next to snap. Mental health is a major issue. People crash out on the daily. And you don't know how far that crash out going to go. Math is important because a lot of things start to add up. And when you factor in the role you play in certain situations, you probably added a lot to that math. And when it hit the fan, you may have to deal with some of the things that you dealt. And for them baby mamas or the wife or whoever for being involved, 7, 8 kids, that's a whole lot of passion. That's a whole lot of I love yous, especially if you keep coming back. That's a lot of feelings, love and heart. From 1 to 14, and they still coming up in age, you got responsibilities out the ass. people start to feel like that's the biggest mistake they ever made in their life. It's people in relationships with no kids. You damn near single. You damn sure ain't married. But you got people in situations like that crashing all the way out. And it really ain't even that deep. You got people willing to take their self out because they big booty girlfriend was flirting with another man. But when you think about it, if you was that other man, you would be flirting with your big booty girlfriend and not giving a damn about the boyfriend. But you want to judge when it's being done to you. A lot of people do things, but when it happened to them, they can't take it. It's all good dishing it out. But when it happens to them, they just can't take it. And you figure, hell, if you gonna crash out a little bit. You ain't gotta crash out all the way. This man went to the max with his madness, but I don't think the real details would ever reach the public, because if it do, that mean that people will get a free healing for whatever they going through, learning by example. And I think, like they say, the game is to be sold, not to be told. If they give the public the full details, that'd be too much game. That will create too much reconciliation. People will call their family counselor and say, we good, we figured this shit out, because we seen what happened with this man in Louisiana. And when you do the math, maybe we shouldn't be bickering over what we've been bickering about, because it's not good for our kids. I know we separated and he decided that he wanted to go his way. Maybe that's the best for our situation. That way our kids could still have both parents alive. They never gonna give the full details, because they gonna have to sell it one way, or they gonna have to get Oprah involved. And even if they do put the details out there, it's gonna be plagiarized, fabricated. They gonna put some shit on there to where they can market it, so they can, it ain't never gonna be straight up with the public. And that's what we need. The whole details, all of the intel, so people will know how to move accordingly in similar situations. You got one kid, you got one baby mama. You hear the full details of this story, it might solve all your problems. You might be in a Greyhound to Mexico in the morning. But that's Negro here nor there. Okay, let me see what's going on over here real quick. How long I even been on here, man? Yo, I want to give a shout out to the people watching the video. Leave a comment. Let me know what y'all think about this, man. Rest in peace to them kids and everybody involved. He dead, but the legend is alive and well. The legend is thriving. Another one in the books for the Grim Reaper in New Orleans. There's some tales from the crypt going on right here. Lord have mercy. Y'all let me know. I'm about to get out of here, man. I'm gonna holler at y'all next time on DOCZ Daily. Real talk. Hey, I'm